Welcome back to FlexPath DXP YouTube channel. I'm here with Terry Shabesta, CEO of FlexPath DXP. Terry, what's this new series you're calling Fraud Stack Monday?
Yeah, thanks, Jay. It came about from a PSA, public service announcement that we launched a bit ago, where we found that these legacy credit pre-qualification web apps were allowing fraudulent attempts. And we are looking at how do we help the industry combat those types of attacks and threats. So, Fraud Stack Monday was something that we came up with. It's something that we think is going to be valuable content and information to the industry. Right.
And you're doing that by covering news articles and pointing out, right? Because Fraud Stack Monday is this
Weekly publication where it's all about what's going on in the fraud, that it's related to lenders and dealers. And what we're trying to do is just keep the industry and our industry partners aware of what's going on, what's the latest out there in fraud prevention, and what are the bad actors up to. We'll have all kinds of updates and actually news events. I'll be sharing some content from the FBI InfraGard, which I'm a member of. So I'll have stuff about that and other various law enforcement notifications that I'm actually able to share.
wow, that's really interesting.
It's such an important topic. I know AI is very important, and there's a lot of talk about AI, but AI with fraud added to that is really just it's exponentially a major problem that just continues, that our dealers and lenders continue to deal with. And we think that being able to provide some insight into what's going on out there with fraudsters and the bad actors, that we can bring light into this and help provide solutions to the fraud that's being perpetrated out there in the marketplace, especially with the partners of our new PathGuard consortium that we're put together through the Fraud Stack, which is Fraud Stack Monday. So there'll be a lot of information from our partners and members of the consortium.
It sounds like Fraud Stack Mondays is almost like a new content series based on pointing out fraud, what's happening, how to help protect dealers, lenders, consumers. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, the goal here is to help dealers, lenders, and consumers stay one step ahead of the fraudsters.
So, Fraud Stack Monday really is the industry PSA in action, a weekly alert and education tool. Sounds like a big value add. Tell me about something else you've been working on, single vehicle prequal.
Yeah, so single vehicle prequal is an advancement into just the get pre-qualified web apps that are out there. Of course, we do it with a phone number with the identity verification attached to it, which eliminates a lot of the fraud that we're seeing with these other legacy prequal apps. So the single vehicle prequal, it allows us to put monthly payments on vehicle inventory, where the consumer can click on a payment to pre-qualify instantly. Again, what you see in the marketplace are these legacy applications where they're showing monthly payments or get your payment. Unfortunately, most of those are not built on real credit. What they are mostly tied to is self-credit, letting a customer determine what they think their credit is. And of course, it's maybe a credit score, which doesn't really determine credit eligibility. So these payments, we want to make sure that when we're quoting payments to consumers, it's based upon their actual real credit data, not just the consumer determining what they think their credit is. So we call these credit perfect payments, where it's based upon real credit.
Right. Is self-reporting, is that still a problem where you just need a more accurate yes?
We're using what we built with VeriQual. It's powered by VeriQual, which is identity verification and credit prequalification. So we're able to make sure that the customer that we're pre-qualifying is a real customer, and then that dealer or lender get that lead, that pre-qualified lead. It's based upon the real credit. The customer is provided a variety of different payment options that they instantly, so they don't have to pick like one term and quote, and you see that a lot in current payment quoting engines where you have to select a term and then it recalculates and then, well, do I want to do lease or do I want to do finance? We do it all in one little snapshot of all the different payment options that that customer qualifies for. And we're verifying that it's a real customer. So when that lead hits to the dealer's CRM or to the lender, it's a real person, just like in our Get Pre-Qualified web app for VeriQual. It's a real person, it's real credit, and it's a real pre-qualification.
Wow, that sounds like a game changer. So shoppers get an instant yes, dealers focus on real buyers, and lenders get clean data they can trust.
Yeah, and all three of those benefit consumers with instant, frictionless pre-qualification. The dealer doesn't waste money on needless credit pulls, and they get more real buyers. The lenders higher quality loan portfolio without the fraud attached to it. So it's good. It's good for everybody. It's a win-win-win.
Well, it sounds like there's also something you've been pushing in the industry, affordability. Can you tell me more about that?
Yeah, so as president of the National Vehicle Leasing Association, we feel the industry, of course, I do as an independent leasing company myself, that used car leasing, I think is really a critical time. Of course, there's always new car leasing, and we think that's always great for consumers for affordability. But what about used cars, right? A lot of consumers think, well, I can't really afford a new car. I'm going to look at a used. The price of used cars squeezing that customer into higher payments. So how do we help with that? And so at NVLA, National Vehicle Leasing Association, which I'm president of, we're spearheading the push for more used car leasing options. So we're working with national lenders and independent leasing companies, franchise dealers, to come out with a really, really great used car leasing program that can help consumers with that affordability issue that we're seeing in the marketplace right now.
So with all that you're working on with FlexPath DXP, with the NVLA, with tools such as single vehicle prequal and lease affordability, and then keeping an eye on Fraud Stack Mondays and news and information. In a snapshot summary, what's something you think you're seeing right now that's very important that you can help with?
Yeah, well, obviously we talked about the AI, and that's everywhere. We're seeing that, right? So we are working with AI companies. We don't create AI ourselves. We work with companies that do AI to help support responsible credit prequalification, right? So we're helping the lenders, dealers, and consumers eliminate the fraud. So that's really probably the biggest thing. When I go to sleep at night or wake up in the morning, the first thing that I'm thinking about on my walk or wherever I am, I'm constantly thinking about how can we thwart these the bombardment we're getting with constant fraud attacks. And it's only getting worse, right? So it takes a lot to stay on top of this. As you mentioned, I'm involved in National Vehicle Leasing Association, FlexPath. I have my own leasing company. These different moving pieces, but they all work together, right? So I have insight onto all of these different pieces, including, like I mentioned, we're working with the CFPB, FTC, the FBI, InfraGard to get more insight of what's going on out there so that we can bring that to the industry.
Yeah, given all of your experience and everything you're involved in, and even, when you go as far as you go beyond just regulatory commissions, but enforcement agencies, you're at the forefront of this fraud bombardment of dealers and lenders, and that is critical to their business today.
Yeah, and it's not just me. So, right, as you mentioned, or as I've mentioned in the past, the fraud stack is made up of a consortium of companies like the Swiss cheese that we've talked about previously. One slice of the Swiss cheese, there's holes, right? So there's holes, which is why most security organizations and companies that look at fraud prevention, it's a multi-layered approach. So you have different slices, different components, different companies, in your fraud stack, like a tech stack, right? It's a fraud stack. So you have all these different components. And we look at it as working with other industry experts. It's not just me by myself, it's other people that I talk to all the time that are experts in what they do, right? So it's always about working with the best of each individual component. And that's what we're really focused on. It's not about us doing it all or knowing it all. You can't. There's no possible way. And anybody that tells you that, they're not really being honest with you. So we got to make sure we're working together through partnerships, consortiums to make sure that we're protecting, like I said, lenders, dealers, and the consumer. Dealers, they get these great sales tools, lenders, more quality originations. And last but not certainly least is affordability and pre-qualified payments for consumers.
Wow, that's a lot. Thank you, Terry, for all of that information. Stay up to date with Fraud Stack Mondays, single vehicle prequal, and how FlexPath and NVLA are tackling the affordability crisis. Make sure to follow Terry on LinkedIn, subscribe for weekly updates, and reach out to Terry directly at terry@flexpathdxp.com. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Jay.